I know a man whose father was very promiscuous. He would sleep around. Sometimes he would bring the women home with him. And he would push the man's mother out of the house. She would sleep outside. But he would sleep with whoever on their matrimonial bed. And in the morning, because they used to live in face me and face you. You see that this sexual sin is a very foolish sin. You are living in face me and face you. That means you are not rich. But you have money to go and bring woman home and push your wife out. Then in the morning.
Welcome back to Faith and Gist TV, my beautiful YouTube family. So when I say these two ministers did not hold back, guys, I mean they touched deep, sensitive things people don't even talk about these days. Rev Christie Bature and Rev Sam Oye came for us, guys. Real life issues, real talk, no filter. If you are married or even planning marriage, this one is for you. Are you guys fully ready? Because I can't wait to let you watch this, and trust me, you're going to learn one or two things from this particular video. So let's start with Rev Christie Bature. The way she addressed relationship realities, especially what women go through. Some people will agree, why some, no, as you already know, they will not. But one thing is clear, she spoke truth with boldness. Then, let's now talk about Reverend Sam Hoye. He came in with wisdom as usual, talking about pattern in marriage, attitude, and the things we think are small but are actually destroying homes slowly. Honestly, my beautiful YouTube family, what struck me is this: many people are dealing with these same issues silently, but nobody is talking. That is why message like these are so important. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you learn one or two things from this video. I feel like both of them are opening our eyes, but the question is, are we ready to change, or we just want to hear the message and move on? Let me ask you, my beautiful family, do you agree with the way, with what they said on this video? Or you feel some things were too harsh? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because your girl is going to be in the comments to read them all. If this message bless you, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Faith and Gist TV. Your Gist girl is always here to bring you real talk with love. See you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.
Now, we have a situation whereby infidelity is spreading in the church, okay? And the question is, what are some of the remote causes? Because sometimes you find men saying, my wife, I've had to deal with things like that. My wife is cheating on me. And then when you get into, as much as we know that there is no justification for saying because of what your partner did, you went to do wrong. But is it possible that some of the way we treat each other can act as triggers, enablers, environments? What are some of the things that can enable, trigger, predispose some of us as husbands or wife towards this edge of infidelity? As unjustifiable as that response in itself is, what are some of the things that couples need to stop doing so that we don't predispose each other to dealing with these things?
Some of them are medical. I have a young lady who came to me. They honored God in the courtship till they married, only for her to find out that the only reason that didn't happen is because the man was impotent and he didn't tell her. So now she's 30, she's 20 something, and she has married a man who is impotent, who has told her now that he has done all medically possible and nothing is changing. And she's asking me, so am I doomed to living like this for the rest of my life? I said, well, that marriage was on a faulty and deceitful foundation. If you decide to walk away, I will help you walk away. Because no marriage can work if the foundation is deceit.
Absolutely.
Or somebody has a child before marriage and didn't tell. And then now after marriage, you are telling and hoping that the person will forgive, because now you have already married. Offense will push somebody to go outside. Offense will. Sometimes the woman has a medical condition called vaginismus. Okay. I hope I'm calling it right.
Yeah, that's it.
Where she's unable to have sex without medical intervention. And sometimes couples don't know that there's such a thing. And the guy just says, well, since I can't get what I want here, let me go out. Sometimes it is greed.
Greed.
Greed. Romans chapter 1 and verse 21. Because that they knew him as God, this is a Christian, but will not honor him as God, neither were thankful. From that moment that ingratitude came into the conversation, they began to decline. The moment ingratitude came, they became vain in their imaginations. And then, this is about sexual sin, that chapter from verse 21. And there are 7 levels of degeneration there from the moment ingratitude came. So it's an ungrateful man that looks at his wife and says she's not enough, so he needs a side chick.
Sorry, slow down.
I've not finished though before they'll bite me. It's also an ungrateful woman that looks at her husband and says he's not enough, and she goes for a side cockerel.
So
if you call the girl side chick, what do you call the man? It's cockerel, please.
So it's ingratitude that drives.
Ingratitude drives addictions. It's one of the doorways to addiction. Ingratitude. You will hardly meet anybody who is addicted to anything, any habit, that is grateful.
Wow.
They are always whining, complaining, blaming everybody else. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. Nobody. Even while you are caring. So ingratitude, I try to drive that into my children all the time. Stay in the sphere and realm of gratitude. It protects you from a lot of things. But Paul in Colossians says, cultivate gratitude. Why will he be using the word cultivate for gratitude? Because it doesn't come naturally to us to be grateful. We're more likely to complain, to murmur, to say nothing is working, than we are to say thank you. So Paul says, be intentional. Cultivate it. Go to farm and farm gratitude. And let it be a part of your life. So these are some of the reasons people go out. Sometimes also it's patterns again.
We dealt with that yesterday. That was
it's
a lot.
Still patterns. If you look at David, he committed adultery in secret. His children brought it out to the open.
My goodness.
And you know, when a man or woman doesn't deal with themselves in one generation and it crosses to the next one, it's always compounded. And the reason is that the father is a seed. The children are fruit. And fruit is always multiplied over seed. So this is why it's so important that we deal with ourselves. Because these things that are continuing. So I know a man whose father was very promiscuous. He would sleep around. Sometimes he would bring the women home with him. And he would push the man's mother out of the house. She would sleep outside. But he would sleep with whoever on their matrimonial bed. And in the morning, because they used to live in face me and face you. You see that this sexual sin is a very foolish sin. You are living in face me and face you. That means you are not rich. But you have money to go and bring woman home and push your wife out. Then in the morning, in the full view of your neighbors, you make your wife fetch water for the concubine to the bathroom for her to go and have a bath. And this man was watching. Of course, anger was building inside of him. He was too small to do anything. Now he grew up. He has finished university. He's working. His father did the same thing. And this time he hit the mother. The guy gathered his younger brothers. They beat their father into the ground. Say, now we're big like this. You still want to try this nonsense? Mo will teach you lesson. But sir, that man today has crossed lines sexually that his father never did. As much as he hated what his father did, he became what he hated. You see why it's so important to deal with yourself? Because this man now, I'm sure he sits back and he looks at himself and he must ask himself, how did I become this?
Wow. It's important, particularly those of us who are men. It's important for us to know that what starts with us doesn't end with us. It's perpetuated across generations. And it's critical. There was something we discussed yesterday. You were talking about Hezekiah. It's important for us to know that what happens in Vegas doesn't end in Vegas anymore. That we are doorways, we are gates. And what is allowed in our time multiplies in the next generation. We are compounding the lives of the next generation by not resolving issues in our own time. Devils we don't fight in our time, our children will live to deal with in the years to come. So it is very and you talked about ingratitude, and I see selfishness, because again we talked about pleasure yesterday. I think it's all about pleasure. So when young people come to me and they're saying, Pastor, you know, I find it difficult to overcome this particular temptation or sin, and I say, what kind of sin? And the person talks about maybe fornication. I said, no, it's not the fornication you find difficult to overcome. It's the pleasure that you get from it. It's the pleasure you get from it. And the day you begin to look at pleasure through the eyes of God, you will stop having pleasure. Because although you are thirsty, you don't drink water if you know that the bottle containing the water also has acid. You're wise enough to say, look, I will delay my thirst and wait until I get water from a clean source before I drink. In the same vein, I can't say because I have a desire and so I must get it from any source. So I think it's important for us, the men, not to compound the lives of the women and our children. It's important we deal with ourselves. UC.
Yes, sir.
You wanted to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So this one says, I ended a 4-year relationship due to my parents' disapproval. Although I received spiritual indications both internally and externally that he was right for me, it is an experience I am still healing from. But was it right abiding by my parents' decision and forgoing destiny?
She said, I'm forgoing destiny.
Yeah.
Oh, those are two paradoxes there. I don't know if I want to touch that. Because she's already saying, sir, let me tell you, I know a young lady who was in love with a guy and her father said no because of where the guy comes from. He forced her to end that relationship. She met somebody that is their tribe, they married. The guy met somebody else, married. It's been over 20 years now. They still sneak and see each other. They couldn't let go because they were that in love. They are cheating on their spouses. They got married knowing that they are going to cheat. Oh, that's how some people are here. You know you have no intention of being faithful, but you marry anyway.
My God.
And you expect your spouse to, "Na so I be, accept me like that." No, that marriage is founded on deception. Okay, so it's very important to get parental consent. Absolutely. Before you marry. Very, very important. Family is family. Because if you go see win for there, you get to run, go somewhere. And if you have already cut them off, you can't run there. Then you are stuck in the place of the pain, whether male or female, sir. Yes. It's very important. However, I think that there are steps you can take to reach your parents to see.
Absolutely.
Even if they don't agree with you, they will be able to release you to go. So you try by yourself, it doesn't work. You go to elders in the community, it doesn't work. You go to elders in the church, it doesn't work. You wait small still.
You wait.
Yeah, he that believeth does not make haste. But after some time, commune with your pastors and let them look at everything. And if the leadership says to you, look, you have done everything, and they still say no, but you are still convinced, go ahead and marry. But the church must assure them, if there's problem, you can come to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because sometimes when there's problem, church too go come out hand, they look you. It's not supposed to be. Church should be able to say, we encourage you to go, and we're here for you. Amen.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sarah. This question.
Can we have some sound? And we need some monitor on the stage for Pastor Christie. We need monitor sound, and I need to have our sound too.
Okay, so this question, the person says, thank you first for the words on healing. I come from a very dysfunctional family. I think it is right to say that the kids are the parents. I lost my mom at a very young age. My dad remarried. I love my new mom. She's good, but not perfect. But they are very verbally abusive to each other. Careless and never listen. They're always right. I have been exposed to abuse on multiple counts growing up. And I keep it in because I don't want them to separate. Right now, I am tired. I've been working on it. I've gone for therapy. I'm still on a therapy. And I want to ask, my question is this: is there no end to trauma? At what point do I get to be normal again? I feel I need to separate myself from my family to be okay.
If you are at the of age and you can separate, absolutely. I mean, the design is that when you become an adult, you don't remain with your parents. You go. Yesterday, Papa was speaking. He said Jacob's 10 adult sons were still in their father's house. That's not normal. So if you're old enough to leave and you are able to sustain yourself, by all means. One of the recommendations for dealing with trauma is to remove yourself from the environment of the trauma.
Absolutely.
So if you can, please do that quickly. Number two, when you say, at what point will I be normal? You have already gone past normal. You can never be normal in that sense. What you can do now is to take the trauma and turn it into a weapon against the enemy. That's the only way. You can't go back to not being abused. You can't go back to not hearing the verbal insults coming. You can't go back to not losing your mother. All of these things are components of trauma. You can't go back. So instead of sitting and wallowing in pain and self-pity and regret, take the pain and turn it into a weapon. Okay? Let me underscore that. My father was an addict. He was always drinking. He introduced all the children to drinking. There were 8 of us. And some of us were already addicted by age 10. I stopped drinking when I was 10. But I was already very, very addicted to alcohol. And one by one, as the devil took more room than he was given, you know, my dad only drank alcohol. He never touched anything else. The children, the fruit, took it to cigarettes, to Indian hemp, to cocaine, to all kinds of things. And one by one, they all died. So in the family of 10, my mom, my dad, and 8 children, we have now reduced to a family of 2. I've buried 8 of them, and 6 died from addiction. Only 2, my mom and my youngest sister, she died at 9. So she didn't grow up to make those choices. But the other 6 all died from results of poor choices they made. And I looked at my life, I'm like, so why did God come and leave me? Why didn't you kill me too so somebody else will cry? Why am I the one crying all the time? And God said to me, haven't you noticed that the 3rd generation is falling too? Their children are beginning to drink and smoke like them because the models they're looking at are broken. He said, take them. I let their parents go so they can come and see another model. He said, take them. So I took 14 of them, the children that my siblings left. And I'm seeing them turning to Christ like crazy. 3 of them refused and 2 have died. 1 is still struggling. He doesn't even come near me. But the 4th one that refused has caught himself and he's gradually turning around and coming back. So what did I do with my pain? I took it and I started a rehab center. Absolutely. So that another family will not suffer like mine suffered. And by God, I'm seeing God rescue families. You know, we didn't know it had a name. We didn't know there was anywhere to go. So we stayed with the shame, the pain, the anguish, the loss, the anger. Everything just going on inside. And I said, if I can spare another family this, I'll do it. And my God, I have so much gratification from the work I do. Just seeing people that the enemy would have otherwise destroyed becoming fruitful and committed members of society. David came at Goliath. He had no sword. Goliath said, I will cut off your head. He said, no, I'm cutting off your own head. When Goliath went down, David ran and took Goliath's own sword that was meant for his own head, and he removed Goliath's head. So whatever comes at you,
you can use it.
If you let God, he can put it in your hand as a weapon.
Yeah.
So don't look at it all the time as a negative thing. That trauma could be what God will use to change the world. Praise God.
Wow, thank you so much for that. And